And if they have a issue that is psychiatric crisis in nature, then they would go to this part of the program that we're calling Crisis Stabilization Unit. And that is basically half of this facility. So half of the facility will be dedicated for that purpose. And those folks would stay there up to 3 days. So in that Crisis Stabilization Unit, we'll have professionals who are trained to work with them, medical professionals who will get them stabilized, and then they'll work with them on a discharge plan, get them back out into the community so that they're not attending the ER, so they're not going into a psychiatric hospital unnecessarily. And we've been very successful at that. This is a model that the state of Tennessee has propagated and supported, and we've been able to implement in our community, really with the support of law enforcement and the support of other providers in the community. Commissioner?
Yes, one time when we were discussing this, I believe you said that going through this program, they would be able to use their insurance that would pay for that, where it doesn't cost the county like it's we're paying now, right?
That's exactly right. For this,
even for TennCare.
TennCare is a fund source that does pay for that level of care, and that wouldn't obviously cost taxpayers anyway.
Once they've been convicted of a crime, then they lose their TennCare.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then of course it's nobody wants, it's all hands off, and then we end up taking them to the ER, which costs about $1,500 as soon as we walk through the door with them. So and it's very hard to receive TennCare benefits. It's not impossible, but it's very hard to receive TennCare benefits once you've been taken off the file, off the roll.
It's hard to get re-enrolled, and it's a very difficult process for that.
Even if it's a misdemeanor, drunk disorderly or something?
It's pretty much any.
That's my understanding. If the first opportunity they have to take you off, they take advantage of it.
Exactly. Once you've been convicted,
Even a misdemeanor?
yes, then you're removed.
Once you make jail. Once you get in jail.
Okay. So in this scenario, even if let's take someone doesn't have a mental issue, sustainable mental issue. Person got drunk at a UT game.
Right.
He or she will be brought to this facility, go through the process. In terms of the law enforcement, they would not be charged.
They would not be charged.
Okay. All right.
And they would be given a pamphlet to say, look, maybe you've got a drinking problem, and statistics show, what is it, 80% of those one-time people we never see again. That one time and that one time only.
I think there's like 4,000 plus PI arrests, public intoxicant arrests,
yeah. And
in Knox County. 80% of those never hit the criminal justice system.
And what he was talking about before is these persistent people over and over. We identified 20 individuals that were arrested 600 times. So if you just think, if you take those 20 individuals and divert them, how the numbers of our people you arrest go down.
You said once they're convicted, they lose TennCare. Is it convicted or charged?
I think it's on a conviction.
I know on conviction.
Actually, when they come through our door, the taxpayers pick up the fee.
There we go.
Yeah, we pay for it.
So they'll lose TennCare once they come through the door.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of this particular solution. Those benefits stay intact. They can still access services. Those services provided by the right medical credential provider can be reimbursed by the insurance company. Exactly. The other part that the sheriff's alluded to is the diversion component of this particular safety center. So if somebody has a charge or picked up public intoxicant at the ball game, get picked up, they would come to this facility, have an assessment done, and basically stay with us up to 23 hours. So and that's about the length of time they typically stay in jail. So that length of time stays uniform as well. That's important from the programmatic side because we want it to be a deterrent still. I mean, one of the things that we need it to be is a deterrent. Those folks don't repeat. We don't want them to repeat just because they have a community intervention option. So that'll be intact. The difference will be we'll have professionals who work with folks who have A&D and addiction problems, provide them education, community support, and then when they leave, they have something to take with them into the community. And our other charge on this continuum Andy talked about is to make sure that those connections happen when they leave that facility. We'll be keeping a record of people who attend and participate in this facility, and we'll track that. If there are folks who don't take advantage of the services that we're able to offer, they'll go down.
And General Nichols will handle them accordingly.
How many beds are you moving as a part of this crisis? How many beds are there?
The total facility, we anticipate having about 22 beds. About 12 of those will be for crisis stabilization, and the balance would be for jail diversion.
There are 12 existing and we're creating 12 more.
We're gonna relocate them to this particular.
With room to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let me back up. Whenever I heard this downtown, we were saying 22. So 22 includes some beds that are being moved.
The crisis stabilization unit and the safety center. And you know, sometimes people say that doesn't sound like a lot, but actually as the revolving door rolls, that's plenty enough to alleviate the problem we have. I think Rodney and I checked today, and right now we have 100 men and women. We have probably 100 or 110 that will fit in that category today. And that number, of course, that number fluctuates just like our, you know, the numbers of people we have in jail.
So you take care of 10 of them downtown.
Well,
it would 100 that came out here.
Right. Well, it would be a process that we would have to start moving the ones that we have in jail through the program, also accepting ones from outside the program. So it's not going to. I mean, you know, it's going to have to revolve for 3 or 4 months before we can deal with the people that fit into this program. I mean, it's not going to. You're not going to be able to take those 100 overnight.
No.
And
Because you only have 10 new beds there.
But we're used to that, Commissioner, because, you know, when the CSU gets busy, we're able to staff up. You know, we have more than 10 bed, we have more than 12 beds out there. And so if we have 14 or 16 people at any given night, we're able to staff up for that and then staff down as needed. So we're able to flex up and down with the population.
I wouldn't see you flexing down if he has 100.
No, it wouldn't be.
No, but it's going to be done over a period of time. You know, it would be, you know, over several weeks' time, you know, to be able to move people through it.
And frankly, we have to have discussion whether or not that's the right number. You know, it's a proposal at this point to meet the capacity.
But we've left room to grow.
That's right. Commissioner.
Back to the insurance thing a minute. Let's go to the John Doe you mentioned a while ago that gets arrested at the football game. Most private insurances have treatment plans built into them for alcoholism. Would that, your program qualify for payment through those type insurances?
We would explore that with the insurance company and see if it met that level of criteria. They're pretty rigid, frankly, for the services that we'll probably provide during this period of time. And you have to think for that 23-hour period, most of them are going to be intoxicated and they're not going to be able to access.
So you're going to be doing some referring out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And more likely.
And Commissioner, to kind of answer that, on our side of that, it stops here.
Yeah.
When they walk through the door and they're booked in, private insurance does not pay anymore. So there's no cost difference really there at all. If they can get it, it's a plus.
You know, and for those people who have resources to pay, there's no reason that they shouldn't be billed for those services.
Where we can't bill them.
Right. So, trying to figure out how this is going to operate. Male, female, separate facilities, co-mingles on public intoxication?
Actually, in this facility, it would serve both men and women, is our anticipated mix. And if you look at the data, it's about 80% male, 20% female.
So you'll staff that way?
That's correct.
But you can handle
Yes.
ups and downs.
And as an example, our crisis stabilization unit on Ball Camp Pike has men and women on the same unit. That's not an issue for us.
But we would also, Sam, we would also have security there as well. So we would have police there 24/7.
Andy, help me understand this. I mean, from our figures, we're showing 25% of these homeless people were out of a population of right at a little over 1,000. So, you know, that's 250, and we're, like David says, we're only approaching maybe 20, 25. That's
But
just
only 10 new beds.
Yeah.
So but the goal is, go ahead, Cliff, answer that question.
That 18 to 25% includes people who are not nonviolent misdemeanors.
Right.
We're talking about the total number of people who are acutely mentally ill and in treatment for their mental illness in the jail, and the jail is having to pay for that. That's the 18 to 20%.
Yeah, you'll see when we go down there, there are people that are not eligible for this program.
But I would guess, just from doing this for 27 years, that about 75 to 80% of those people So if we want to try to trim it down a little bit, or non-violent misdemeanors.
Right, and that's what you all, we're trying to take over to you guys over there. But are we thinking big enough? Are your numbers, are you gonna be able, do you need a 30,000 square foot building?
I think this is a
You're
great,
okay?
this is a great starting point. And we talk about, those diversions for public intoxicants. We're not talking about a bed. We're talking about a bark lounger. And so somebody's gonna come in there, they're not gonna have a bed.
Sober up.
It's not gonna be a bed. They're gonna have a lounge chair to sober up in and be observed while they're sobering up.
So when Dave talks about beds, you're talking about beds and loungers too?
Right.
On top of that, so you wanna,
No, the 10 are the bark loungers that Andy describes. But think about it this way, Commissioner, this is the way I have to think about it. If they all spend one day, it's basically 3,000 people that side of this unit will already serve. The other side's gonna serve another 1,000 on a 3-day stay. So we're gonna have a 4,000 person impact in a year's time. That's a pretty considerable impact, we believe. It may not answer everything. I mean, we don't think it's gonna be the answer for all problems, but it'll have a significant impact, we believe, on the population.
It's a serious multiplier when you see the how it revolves.
I just wanted to take away enough from your number.
No, and I don't believe there's any way that it can. I mean, you've got an option of building a $20 million pod that holds 192 people for $20 million, or we can take, as of today, once we take 100 off, then it's not going to keep us from building another pod, but it's sure going to prolong it to where we don't have to build one next year. And if we don't take this option, then that's what we're looking at. By federal mandate.
Right.
Is there room to expand this on site there?
I'm sorry,
Is there
sir.
physical room to expand this on that site?
We do have capacity on site. We sure do.
Can you answer a financial question?
I'll do my best.
What's the capital cost of it? What's the yearly subsidy to the operations, and how much of the CDBG million a year that we get do you want to divert to that? I know other commissioners have been out and lobbied by the CAC people
Grants probably.
and those guys to say, don't take the CDBG money away, because they don't like the concept. Just how much is CDBG do you expect
Anticipate.
want to divert? That's the question I have.
You want me to answer? I can give you our proposal numbers, then Grant can amplify that. Basically, we think the facility will cost a little over $2 million to construct. That's the capital cost. We think of the 108, the HUD money, it's be about 1.5 of that, and then we'd be finding gap money to come up with the balance. And that 1.5 million of that 108 will be over a 10-year period.
Right now we have it as a 5-year period, so you're looking at about $322,000 a year out of our million a year allocation. So roughly a third of our CDBG would go towards payback of this 108 loan.
And so, Grant, what will that take the CDBG money away from?
As proposed, as we would propose, it would take about a little over $200,000 a year out of our water, sewer, minor home repair rehab programs through CAC, and then another $100,000 from our permanent supportive housing funding through CDBG.
Now, Grant, haven't we approved a 5-year plan that includes that?
We've approved a 5-year plan that doesn't have this proposal in it yet. We have the ability to amend our 5-year plan to include a 108 loan. But for this year, the 5-year plan began this program year. So as planned right now, we have $100,000 for permanent supportive housing, about $550,000 for the water sewer programs. If we were to embark on a Section 108 loan, it would probably be, if we were to fund it this year, it would probably begin next year's program year. It would take those dollars away.
And then I guess I'll throw this out there. I think we're about to end the sewer upgrade program in Knoxville, which I think some of those funds may have been going to Knox County. I know there's been a 10-year effort to do that, and that's where several of those CAC dollars were going.
These dollars are actually going for folks who are out in the unincorporated areas of the county who need to connect to a sewer, or who need their septic systems fixed, water lines connected. folks who can't afford it.
A lot of seniors who can't afford the upkeep and maintenance on their home use these programs to make those